Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. One of the big questions I often get is how to make your first £100,000. Now, the legendary investor Charlie Munger once said,
The hard part of the process for most people is the first $100,000. If you have a standing start at zero, getting together $100,000 is a long struggle.
so that's why in this video, I'll be going through how to do that in a really efficient manner and also mistakes that I made when going through this process for the first time, and how I would do it differently if I was in your shoes today. I think that the name of the game when it comes to wealth building of any sort is to understand that there are efficient ways to build wealth and there are inefficient ways to build wealth. The most capital intensive way, which is funnily enough, the one that most people tend to focus on when building wealth, is trying to figure out how to maximize their earned income. For the most part, your taxes, if you're an office worker, are going to be roughly around 35 to 40%. The issue with that is that is probably the most capital intensive way or most inefficient way to grow your wealth versus other avenues. Especially when you start making 100,000 or 200,000 a year, you start getting very, very high marginal rates of tax, somewhere between sometimes up to 50 to 60% when you add in your national insurance as well. So how did I get my first £100,000? The main way I did it was by buying the right home at the right time and in the right place. So what we did when buying a home for the first time, there was actually a lot of government deals where you could buy new build homes and the government would help you with helping you with a deposit, and the Help to Buy scheme. I opted not to go down that route for two main reasons. One, I felt like the houses and apartments that they were selling under those schemes were extremely overvalued versus what they were worth. Secondly, I knew that buying a home would probably be the biggest financial decision I would make, and I wanted to make sure I got it right. So I really wanted to go down the old adage of buying the worst home on the best street that we could afford, in the best area that we could afford, and spending the next year renovating that property. So we actually did a lot of work, and I went through multiple different property listings, and I actually used a method that I speak about in another video, which I'll tag here or will be in my description. I'll figure it out later, on how to find homes that are undervalued. I bought one of these homes. It was for £360,000. The value of it at the time was probably around 420,000. So instantly we made about £60,000 buying that home. We then spent about £20,000 to £25,000 renovating that property. And then after those renovations, that home was now worth £450,000. So that increase from 360 to 450, that £90,000 increase happened because we bought the home in the right location. We bought the right home, and then we got it to. We spent money renovating it to make it worth a little bit more. And so, what does that mean? So in the UK and like in most countries, you don't actually pay any taxes on any value increases in the home that you live in. So that means that you can buy a house for £100,000 and in 20 years time, it's worth £1 million. That value has increased by £900,000 and you'd effectively pay zero taxes on it. Not effectively, you would pay zero taxes on it. And that's how a lot of boomers, a lot of people who are in their 50s or 60s right now, built up a lot of their wealth by buying properties or even buying their own home and watching it appreciate over time and paying next to nothing in taxes on it. So that's how I made my first, I'd say about £65,000 to £70,000 in wealth once I subtract the renovation expenses. Now, that was a tax-free way of building my wealth, which I recommend everyone does. Now, this is where I made my mistakes. I really focused on earned income for the rest of it. So I work a job in sales. So at the time, I was making about £65,000. So nothing to write home about. But the big benefit of that role was that I actually got really good commissions if I performed. And I basically became extremely disciplined, saved all of my commission checks and quite a lot of my salary as well, and just grew our savings account that way, growing it slowly, putting money aside, not doing lifestyle creep, not spending money on silly things, and slowly getting us to the point where we had enough saved up that we hit that goal. Now, here's the thing. I think I would have hit that goal a lot sooner had I actually been brave enough to invest into the stock market. I did some calculations recently, and if I had stuck what I had put in what I had at that time into the stock market, which is about 30 grand or so, I would have made somewhere around 70 to 100,000 pounds so far. Now, what I would have done is I would have put it in a stocks and shares ISA, and I would have been able to make those returns tax-free, and I would have built my wealth a lot faster. And I think you should really think about doing this as well if you're really serious about building your wealth and getting started on your financial journey. I want to mention something else as well. I think that when we look at wealth building, I think a lot of it is built on asymmetric bets. So effectively bets where you minimize your downside, you maximize your upside, and you take a chance. And I think that those don't come around very often. Like, for example, with my property, it didn't come around very often for me. A few years later, I bought another one of these deals where I was able to make a similar amount, probably even a bit more. And I think that what I would recommend for people to do is to build money, save it, be really smart about it. And when an asymmetric bet is in front of you, whether that's a bet in the stock market, so maybe you see investing in Nvidia after it drops, like I did, and I made a very sizable investment in Nvidia at the time, and it's paid off. It's done about 41% for me so far. Or a property deal that comes up. I've seen so many that if I had money at the time, I would have bought and would have made money. Or maybe you have an investment opportunity with a friend or a family member, and as long as you're smart about it, if you're ready and you've got your powder dry and you're ready to make investments at a moment's notice, provided that you've done your due diligence and your research, I think these asymmetric bets are what I'm going to be focusing on in the future to really grow my wealth, and what I think you should be doing too. To summarize, really focus on asymmetric bets. Don't have lifestyle creep. Be ready to make investments when you need to. Really focus on the benefits, the mental benefits and the lifestyle benefits of building your net worth and having so many different options available to you. Have a good day. Speak to you soon. Bye-bye.